Good evening. Welcome to Left, Right and Centre. I'm Vishnu Shom. As I watch the Greenland saga unfold, I must confess I share the indignation of many. Trump bellows. Anything less than US control is unacceptable, he says, insisting that NATO needs Greenland in American hands to fend off Russia and China. He mocks Denmark's defences as stew-dog sleds, warning, if we don't take Greenland, Russia or China will, and I'm not going to let that happen. But I must confess, I stand with the Greenlanders. Their Prime Minister, Jens Nielson, has retorted fiercely. If we have to choose between the USA and Denmark, we choose Denmark. Danish Prime Minister Mette Frederiksen has warned that a US takeover spells the end of NATO. Now, this isn't strategy, it's imperialism reborn. And I feel the chill of escalating alliances, European troops deploying amidst Arctic tensions. Where is all of this headed? To war over ice or a fractured world order? But what if some of the major developments been in the last 24 to 48 hours, in what is still very much a developing story? Well, Donald Trump has insisted that the US must control Greenland for security reasons, calling alternatives unacceptable. Denmark's Prime Minister Frederiksen has vowed to prevent the United States takeover after tense talks which took place in Washington. Greenland's Deputy Prime Minister has announced more troops, flights, and ships incoming. There remain fundamental disagreements. These persist post a meeting with US Ministers Vance and Rubio, according to the Danish Foreign Minister. France has confirmed military deployment to Greenland amidst Operation Arctic Endurance, as it's known, and Germany has sent 13 personnel for reconnaissance and potential surveillance support. Sweden, Norway, and the UK have dispatched officers and troops for joint exercises. NATO allies have framed deployments as solidarity against the United States' pressure on Denmark. Global leaders, it must be said, are alarmed, with the European Union and NATO discussing responses to Trump's threats. Denmark plans a permanent military drill with allies to deter potential conflict.
I wouldn't be telling you what I'm willing to do, certainly. I'm not going to give up options, but it's very important. Greenland's very important for the national security, including of Denmark. And the problem is not a thing that Denmark can do about it if Russia or China wants to occupy Greenland. But there's everything we can do. You found that out last week with Venezuela. There's everything we can do about things such as that. Not going to happen. We're not, I can't rely on Denmark being able to fend themselves off. I have a very good relationship with Denmark, and we'll see how it all works out. I think something will work out.
There's absolutely no Chinese investments in Greenland. When I served as Prime Minister, I served Prime Minister twice. We avoided any kind of Chinese investments in infrastructure. 10 years ago, the Road and Belt Initiative, what you have seen in Africa, we avoided all that. We had an abandoned American military installation years ago. There was a global tender. I personally intervened in this. We haven't received any military request from US about stepping up in Greenland for the last 20 years, And we have this framework from 1951. We have a defense agreement. We all belong to NATO. And we think that our way forward should be that we combine forces. So we share the concerns to some extent, but not the methods, if I could put it that way.
Donald Trump is making a bold claim. He says America needs Greenland.
We need Greenland from a national security.
In an early morning post, Trump said US's control of Greenland is vital to national security. He tied the move to his proposed Golden Dome missile defense system. You see, Trump argues Greenland's Arctic location is key to countering Russia and China. He also warned NATO to act. Greenland's leaders strongly disagree. The territory's prime minister says Greenland will not become American.
Men en ting skal alle forstå. Grønland vil ikke ejes af USA. Grønland vil ikke styres af USA. Grønland vil ikke være en del af USA. Vi vælger det Grønland, vi kender i dag, og som en del af kongeriget Danmark.
Denmark has also rejected the idea. calling Greenland a self-governing territory, not for sale. Despite Trump's hard line, any transfer of Greenland would require approval from Denmark and its people. So far, both say no.
Overwhelming. That I can put that in one word. It is quite overwhelming, especially with the example he set with Venezuela. It is like kind of last year it was a whole different thing. It felt more neutral. It felt more of a negotiation. This year it feels more of a threat.
Well, joining us now, a very special guest, Nathanielsen serves as Greenland's Minister for Business, Mineral Resources, Energy Justice and Gender Equality. Ma'am, thank you very much for being with us. What we've been doing over the last couple of days in reflecting on that situation in Greenland is to go through fairly basic questions. And so let me ask you these questions so that our viewers in India and around the world get an idea of what you're thinking. So the first question is this: how firmly does Greenland reject US ownership or control, in your opinion?
Very firmly. We have stated it quite clearly for actually years that we insist on being the ones to determine our own future. And we want to be part of the Kingdom of Denmark. And we do not wish to be Americans. So I think we are quite clear on that. Of course, we have been debating the future of Greenland for many years, and we are moving forward in a process that is very open and democratic with Denmark as well. So I think there should be respect about our decisions moving forward and our position in all of this.
Ms. Nathanielsen, how is Greenland responding to increased European and NATO, their military presence? It's not something you had expected, but you do have some of your partners from Europe coming across. How are Greenlanders responding to this?
We are positive about this. We have been saying actually for years that we support an increase in the monitoring of the Arctic region. For us, there can be dual use purposes of this. This could benefit both a military aspect, but also a more public aspect where monitoring of our coastline can serve more than one purpose. So for us, these exercises, this presence is understandable for us, and we applaud it. And if there was a need for a more permanent position in Greenland or installations, we also welcome this.
What are the next steps, in your opinion, after the recent meetings in Washington, which were essentially inconclusive?
Well, I am, first of all, very happy that the dialogue took place. I appreciate that the American Vice President and the State Foreign, Marco Rubio, also took his time to meet with our representatives. We deeply appreciate this because we think that what has been lacking from all of this is the direct dialogue. So we appreciate the direct dialogue and the ability to move forward with discussions directly face to face. So we appreciate this. But as you mentioned, also, I think right now there is no clarity about the future, and we still have a lot of difficult discussions ahead of us.
There are many in Greenland who feel that ultimately the goal has to be independence for Greenland, sovereignty, peacefully done, depending on the opinion of people. If that is a large-term goal or a long-term goal, then how does America's involvement, a potential involvement, impact that goal, if it does indeed exist?
I'm oftentimes asked that question. And the thing is, for Greenlanders, the constant move towards more and more self-determination and more maneuver room within the Kingdom of Denmark is always on the table and something we discuss ongoingly with Denmark. So for us, this discussion is not really a novel or new discussion. It's something that has been going on for many years. And we are not in a position right now where we're even thinking about declaring independence. We are in a position or in a process towards heightening the welfare for Greenlanders and getting more and more maneuver room within the existing frameworks. So that has been our goal for many years. And we're not really discussing a date for sovereignty. So this is, I think, to some extent, a misinterpretation of the discussions going on in the Greenlandic community. And the Greenlanders have said it quite clearly to us. They say, well, we are not ready for independence, but of course we want to move forward with changing this or that that constellation within the kingdom. So I think what's going on is a sober and direct democratic discussion, both in Greenland, but also with the Kingdom of Denmark and with the Danish government. And it's a marathon, not a sprint. So there really isn't any date yet or any, I cannot foresee in which future this would happen, if at all.
So let's talk about the situation as it is now. If I were to ask you to send a direct message to President Trump, what would it be?
Well, choose a path of dialogue and collaboration and compromise, even if that's necessary. I am absolutely certain we can find common ground and there is a great understanding actually in Greenland about the American concerns, and we are very eager and willing to listen and try to accommodate those concerns. What is not negotiable is that we do not want to be American, and we simply ask for the respect of our own minds and our own determination right to our future.
Ma'am, Donald Trump, the US president, has not ruled out a military option. Is that something that worries you greatly, that given what we've seen in recent times in Venezuela, for example, that he might actually use military force to annex your beautiful land?
That would be devastating. It would be devastating for the people of Greenland. And it would be devastating for the years and years and years of collaboration, I think, that has made the Western Alliance quite strong and made sure that the populations within it has prospered in peace. So for me, that would be absolutely devastating if that was the scenario. Of course, we do not hope this is the scenario. We are still continuously working towards another path of collaboration and dialogue, but it would be absolutely devastating.
Do you believe that would mean the end of NATO, as it were?
I cannot speak to the member countries and how they would define this, but I know that it would definitely change the existing world order as we know it.
One of the points mentioned by Donald Trump is that he needs to do this, in his words, because of a greater Russian or Chinese presence around Greenland, particularly with Arctic ice floes melting, new routes opening up. He possibly fears a greater involvement or presence of Chinese ships and sailors and others in waters around Greenland. Have you seen anything of this sort so far?
No, we do have no intelligence on Chinese activities in the waters. Of course, Russia is an Arctic state as well. We share the American concerns about keeping the area under control from both NATO and the US. So for us, we can solve this without the use of force. We can solve this through collaboration and deals between us and making sure that this scenario would not play out. And I also listened to the message from China that came out that said, well, we have no interest in moving forward in such a manner. So I think we can reach the wanted ambitions and goals without the use of force, but through investments, through putting more monitoring in place and making sure that we obtain the goals we're all agreeing upon.
And correct me if I'm wrong, but America has had several military bases in Greenland for decades. And if there was a discussion to have more military bases, because Greenland is geographically important for their missile dome, their missile shield, then that's not something that Greenlanders would object to.
We would welcome it. We have no objections, no.
And therefore, what do you think this is really about? Is it about defense? Is it about Russians? Is it about the Chinese? Or is it about minerals?
Well, as many things in politics, I think it's not a binary question. I think there can be many truths at the same time, and I think there can be many answers to your question. I think there is an interest.
Minister, you're being very diplomatic. You're being very diplomatic.
Yes, but I also do think it's true. I think there can be a military interest. I think there can be an interest regarding our natural resources, but I also think that could be a more ideological one, maybe driven by expansionism. And I don't think necessarily that everybody holds all three positions at the same time. There can be many groupings that have different opinions.
One or two more questions. There would be a lot of confusion among Greenlanders, people in Nuuk and elsewhere, asking, we are Greenlanders, we have an association with Denmark. What's going to happen to me? How can you answer those questions?
We are all baffled. We are all asking ourselves why. We are an ally to the US. Denmark is an ally to the US. We have been so for decades. We have welcomed American investments and has accepted the necessity for more monitoring of the Arctic. So I think we have been collaborating and being understanding all the way. So it's very difficult right now for Greenlanders to figure out what is at play here, because we feel to some extent that we are betrayed by a great partner that we have relied on for many years. So it is baffling for many Greenlanders, and they worry. People worry and are concerned.
Are you encouraged by the support that you're getting from your European partners? Norway, Sweden, France, Germany, the fact that they, in small numbers are willing to transfer soldiers, these aren't offensive forces, but, for surveillance, to sort of help prop you up in a sense. Are you encouraged by that? Does that really serve any larger goal, given how strong or large the United States is militarily?
I think it's very heartwarming to see so much solidarity coming Greenland's way. We appreciate it. We welcome it. And I also commend you for your kind words in the beginning, in the intro. We are very heartwarmed by this. And even though it's words it still means a lot in a difficult situation. And we do think that the interest from NATO now to increase their activities are also welcomed. I think it has been maybe lacking for some time, and I think it's about time that we start to step up and show more force in our region. And we applaud it, and we are welcoming it.
Ms. Nathanielsen, thank you very much, ma'am, for speaking to us, and hopefully the rights of your people and your rights to be exactly the way you want to be are respected in the long run. Thank you very much indeed for joining us on Left, Right and Center. Thank you.